9th Feb 2025, Kendrick performed at Super Bowl. Everyone is freaking happy. The 2025 Super Bowl was the most watched in the history, with 126 million reported viewers. But after watching this, someone turned off the TV cause that was not just a performance.
Serena, how was that out there? How was it to represent?
That was so fun. Let's go, Crimez.
I'm gonna be starting a challenge. It's called the Helping Hand Challenge. The one that wins is whoever does the most good will win the challenge. It's called the Helping Hand Challenge. Hashtag the Helping Hand Challenge.
He's not playing that shit. That's what I'm trying to let y'all know. She doing some praying, she went and do it.
Are you ready? Woo! Let's go!
I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love the super.
Drake has made history. Drake is showing himself that he's unbothered, and he's still old Drake who dropped hits and hits again. But he's clearly showing that how much he is unbothered. Kendrick opened the show with legendary actor Samuel L. Jackson, who introduced Kendrick Lamar by saying this: "Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game?" If you closely look at his outfit, L. Jackson was dressed up as a Sam Uncle, which we all know represent US government. Kendrick's songs always contributes toward the pain of black Americans, which is faced by American system. In 2015, he dropped a dedicated album called Pimp Butterfly, which is again example of people life. And I also have one example.
Anything see my name is Uncle Sam on your dollar. Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I know you're kind, that's why I'm kind. Don't have receipts, oh man, that's fine. Pay me later, wear those gators, cliche and say, fuck you haters.
This is the lyrics of his first song, Wesley Theory. He's talking about the debt traps that black Americans stuck in the cycle. Now, it's very clear that he and his songs are not shrinking violet. To talk about these things, he has been doing this shit since the starting of the career. Just for your information, Drake and Serena dated in the past, and their relation didn't go well. In actuality, nobody knows what's the real reason.
How do you deal with the peanut gallery that goes on about your relationship with Drake?
Honestly, I just live my life.
In 2022, Drake dropped one collab album with 21 Savage, Her Loss. The song name called Middle of the Ocean. Drake took shot on Serena's husband, Alexis Ohanian, and this was the Ohanian response.
The reason I stay winning is because I'm relentless about being the absolute best at whatever I do, including being the best groupie for my wife and daughter.
Fast forward 2025, when Super Bowl happened. Serena did a symbolic crip walk during Kendrick Lamar performance, and this was on the national television. Everyone knows what they showed to us.
Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl Licks halftime performance has raised many eyebrows, especially when famous tennis star Serena Williams surprised everyone with her crip walk as Kendrick performed Not Like Us. The reason it has become a hot topic is because Serena has dated Drake previously, and Not Like Us is a diss track against Drake. While many applauded Serena, some have taken offense to her performance.
How was it to represent?
That was so fun.
If you ever listen his recent album, you'll get to know how much this person is still obsessed with Serena.
I'm way too good to you. You take my love for granted. I just don't understand.
Dancers around him wore white outfits, which represents America symbolism. Colin Kaepernick connection. wearing white robes which represents white supremacy. Again, he's talking about racism here. Most of the people are talking about the chain, that it could be a small subliminal shot on Drake because Drake's real name is Aubrey. This might be a reference to the good line, minor. Let's keep this thing aside for a sec. Maybe he has taken shot on Drake, but what I think he's clearly promoting PG Lang, which is Kendrick's company. You can find A alphabet in their all merchandise. Again, the way he's picturized and everything, it seems very normal on the surface, but it has something deep meaning. He killed the two birds with one stone. SZA also performed with him, and she's clearly showing that what these guys are doing at this kind of a bigger stage than the industry favorite Certified Lover Boy. I want to mention one point here. Taylor Swift, Kendrick, Weeknd, these guys are now stadium artists, and you very well know who's stuck in arenas. He also mentioned lawsuit during the performance that Drake is suing Not Like Us, which include UMG and Reactor without even saying. That's why I have like so many videos of reactors in this video. This is just for Drake fans. Nobody fights lawsuit against diss track or any other artist. Dropping diss track or like saying these kind of words are the part of the culture. And these type of shit has been going on since way back.
I study rap battles for a living.
One big conspiracy also emerged from Superbowl, the Peekaboo. I also want to mention one point here that which is apart from Kendrick and Drake beef. As I have covered in my previous video that how Drake is involved with xxxtentacion murder. Now, I got one clip that is showing how Kendrick is exposing Drake.
It's my gangster.
Well, Addy said I don't get the correlation. Well, okay. On Silent Hill, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, you have spiritually the Christ consciousness.
Before we get into this in.
Go ahead.
All right. Sorry about that. Oh, that's the part we left out. Kodak Black is featured on Silent Hill with Kendrick Lamar. He ended up having a run-in with one of xXxtentacion's killers. They had a conversation. Now, the track that Kodak Black is featured on with Kendrick Lamar is talking about hiding behind your money. And he's talking about peekaboo. You know, basically, we see what's going on because there are subliminals layered on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Yeah,
pretty much.
There are lots of layers. Well, it's a typical Kendrick album, isn't it? But the first usage of Kendrick going peekaboo is not on this title track from GNX. It goes years ago back to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and specifically Silent Hill. Let's keep it running.
He's saying on Silent Hill, peekaboo, I know what you did, Drake. And I have Kodak Black on the same album that in the track Silent Hill, whereas Prince stated he met up when Kodak was in prison. He crossed paths with the person who murdered xXxtentacion.
Now, here's the thing about it, okay? The thing is this. What's going on, if you guys have not been paying attention, y'all saw recently with the petition for UMG, okay? Now, what is the guy saying? Mr. Williams, I believe his name is. He wants his evidence fully introduced because even his own attorney feels he did not get a fair shake. And
so he's talking about one of Tentacion's killers, which is Dedrick Williams, and his lawyer is trying to appeal the case and wants to depose the boy, wants to depose Drake. Why? Why? That's key. Why would you feel like Drake is a key witness to a murder case for xxxtentacion?
Of all the witnesses, again, there's depositions, there's situations where, you know, again, people aren't citizens of Florida or whatever the case is, so there's ways you got to move around that. But he's saying here, hold on now. I had Drake up on that list, and the judge struck him off the list.
Which is why it's important when you listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, you're getting Christ consciousness from Kendrick Lamar spiritually.
It's a great
like
summary.
Even on Silent Hill, when he said peekaboo to Drake, pretty much you're hiding behind your power and your money, but you're not basically looking at the damage that you allegedly done in other people's lives. And in particular for this track, we're talking about with xXxtentacion. When you go to G and X, it's a transformation where Kendrick is basically the boogeyman. So we go from Christ consciousness on Mr. Morale and
I kind of describe this as Kendrick now being like a warrior monk. For me, he found his spirituality. He found his inner peace in dealing with that generational trauma that Miss Morale and the Big Steppers tries to face, and really turning that lens inward and dealing with all of that. And it feels like G and X and the Drake beef especially, like Kendrick is now fulfilled. He's now at peace and at oneness with himself, and he's now turning his mission, instead of being within, outward. And now he's going to go to war. He's not afraid to go to battle for the culture, for his beliefs, to fight for what he stands in. And yet at the same time, you have this dichotomy and this balance of, you know, while there's this Kendrick that isn't afraid of the drama, that isn't afraid of stepping up to whoever needs to be stepped up to, he also still has this security about himself, this composure, this very laid back attitude, this Gemini spirit as he walks through music videos and seems like he could care less whether he delivers the lyrics or not. Like he's just always in control, always at peace with oneself. Like he has that Mr. Morale spirit, and yet there's still that warrior side to Kendrick that's really coming out, right? That's coming out now with the G and X's. That's been coming out with the Drake beef and Watch the Party Die and all of that. Anyways.
Steppers, we talk about Christ consciousness, meditation, the dark night of the soul, going through the shadow self, and also the shadow self of the culture, right? Having the heart part 5. Then on GNX, the boogeyman is fully out, where at the beginning the sample says, give, you know, your brother a helping hand. Helping hand is what xXxtentacion was doing. Now you have a full track called Peekaboo, where
the helping hand challenge. We'll get into that.
Kendrick Lamar is the boogeyman, and he's like, peekaboo, nigga. Now it's about to get heated up. This is why it makes sense when Hitta was in our chat in the live that we did not too long ago.
Hitta J3.
Hitta said, Dark Carnage, I gotta watch and wait. A lot of big things is gonna happen. And when you hear Peekaboo on GNX, like, people are gonna give GNX album more and more and more credit.
He said Peekaboo during his performance. Peekaboo is a song of a Kendrick, and he said this: Peekaboo can't hide behind your money, dog. Drake exactly did the same thing. He wore the mask and donated the money. Ideally, that was X's plan. He did this to hide the dark side of his behind the mask.
I'm going to be starting a challenge. It's called the Helping Hand Challenge. The one that wins is whoever does the most good will win the challenge. It's called the Helping Hand Challenge. Hashtag the Helping Hand Challenge.
What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none.
And these are also some lyrics of that song. Tentacion posted story on Instagram and he deleted it. And after a year, on 18 June, X got shot by these guys.
And tonight, disturbing surveillance video showing the murder of South Florida rapper xxxtentacion and the moments leading up to it.
The 20-year-old was killed back in June, and 4 men have since been indicted.
Drake did this after X's death.
And he died on the 18th of June, 2018. Less than a year later, what does Drake do? He goes on tour in Europe, and he titles it the Assassination Vacation Tour. Who did he assassinate? Who's he taking a vacation from? And Thought Crimes talks about this, and what's wild to me is if you look at the logo, it's got a palm tree in the crosshairs. There are no palm trees in Toronto. I can think of a place in the United States where palm trees are very iconic. I'm talking about Florida. I'm talking about the home of Tentacion. And Drake's not an idiot. He knows exactly what he's doing by titling it in that way, right? Think about it. Labeling it as an assassination suggests that he put out a hit. And if you look at Mr. Mob Ties' music, if you look at the stylistic changes over the years of Drake's music, from going from this like pining after woman love boy who always deals with relationship issues, who always puts his insecurities out there, to later on when all of a sudden he embraces this street life that he was never raised in, starts talking a lot tougher, starts giving us just that mob ties, that mafioso, you know, he's got connects, he's got contacts, he's all of a sudden a very dangerous man. Well, you can't help but start to wonder that there's some really interesting correlations here. And let's say, look, I'm going full loose change on this with the conspiracy theories, but one thing that you can't deny is that I definitely feel like that tour is intended, titled, to troll the death of xxxtentacion. What is Kendrick in the middle of right here? xxxtentacion. He's in the middle of an X. He's playing peekaboo. He's popping out. He already had Euphoria. He's had a lot of levels. A lot of Drake disses. We're in the A minor chain. I don't think it's a coincidence that Peekaboo is on this and he's in the middle of an X.
If this is to be true about the theory concerning not only Silent Hill and Peekaboo, then it's definitely most emphatically unfortunate situation with xxxtentacion.
Gradually, people gonna realize someone true colors. In the end, he said, TV is off. He's trying to say that once TV is off, the real life issues don't go away. He also given the message that media has only showing the black artists to fix agenda and stop letting media to play dictatorship. It was not just a performance for sure. Drake pays subliminal shots hain, but he's pinpointing the strong message that we need to address. Let's keep this aside, like the Drake shit, for one sec. If you just closely look at his performance on the NFL official channel, he was just addressing the topic that nobody talks about it. And these kind of things artists suffer in their career. That's why I loved his music. ऊपर से देखने में सब कुछ normal लगता है. But he's conveying these topics in a that way or in a that particular stage. Oh my god. Just imagine how Drake reacted to Kendrick's performance. This is the biggest L for Drake. Whether we talk about Not Like Us, Lawsuit, Grammys, Superbowl, everything. Just for information, Drake is about to drop his new album, Sexy For You, to recover from this enormous amount of impact. Let me clear one thing here. If he's gonna drop a good music or fresh music, audience gonna love it, no doubt. But if songs will have old wife or a bored music, then it's gonna make situation more and more worse for Drake. Or I'll say Kendrick is about to have another W.
That's fun. Game on, Kendrick. I say OV ho.